press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello students, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೇಗಿದ್ದೀರಿ? I hope everyone is safe at your houses. Today I'm here to discuss about the split 4 of a first PUC syllabus, that is regarding the chapters periodic classification of elements followed by S block elements and P block elements. So let us enter the questions directly. So the first question is like this. So the first question is an element X belongs to a fourth period and a 15th group of the periodic table. Which of the following statement is true? I repeat the question. An element X belongs to a fourth period and a 15th group of the periodic table. Which of the following statement is true? So the options are like this. It has completely filled S and P orbitals and a half filled D orbital. Second one, it has half filled p orbital and completely filled s and d orbitals. And the third one is it has completely filled s orbital and a partially filled d orbital. And the last one is it has completely filled s and p orbitals and a partially filled d orbitals. So the question is an element X belongs to fourth period and 15th group. So which is the element which belongs to a fourth period and a 15th group of the periodic table? So the 15th group of the periodic table means that belongs to a nitrogen family. That means nitrogen, phosphorus, followed by arsenic. This is the list of 15th group elements, first three elements of the 15th group. So nitrogen having atomic number 7, phosphorus having 15 and arsenic has a 33. That means the element which belongs to the fourth period and the 15th group of the periodic table is arsenic. So this element having atomic number 33 and it is having the configuration of arsenic being 33 atomic number, having configuration argon 3d10 4s2 followed by 4p3. This is the electronic configuration of the element which belongs to fourth period and 15th group of the periodic table, that is arsenic. So argon 18 plus 10 28 plus 2 30 plus 3 33. This is the electronic configuration of arsenic. So when we look into the electronic configuration of arsenic, it has a half filled p orbitals. That means in a p orbital it is having the 3 electrons, and it has completely filled s orbital because it is completely filled 2 electrons, that 4s atomic orbital is filled with, and it has completely filled d orbitals. So according to our four options, so which is the correct option here? This particular element, it is having half filled p orbital, completely filled s and d orbitals, which is the correct option here. So it has completely filled s orbital, sorry, option 2 is correct. It has half filled p orbital and completely filled s and d orbitals. So for the first question, the correct answer is option 2, that is it has half filled p orbital and completely filled s and d orbitals. Is it clear? Yes. We will move into the next question. So the next question is like this. The electronic configuration of two elements, X and Y is given below. So the X is given as the electronic configuration of the element X is given as 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2, 3p6 followed by 4s2. So this is the electronic configuration of the first element followed by Y. 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s2 and 3p5. This is the electronic configuration of another element, that is element Y. So when we look into the first element X, it is having a completely filled s orbital in its last valence shell. That means because of the presence of completely filled electrons in the valence shell, it belongs to alkaline earth metal. Alkaline earth metal it is. So 10 plus 8 plus 2, 20. That means it is the electronic configuration of a calcium metal. Followed by the element Y, it is having a 7 electrons in the valence shell. So which group elements in our periodic table have 7 electrons in their valence shell? Those were halogen. That means group 17 elements in our periodic table, group 17th group elements will have 7 electrons in their valence shell. So when we compare the valencies of these two elements, first element has a valency 2 because it has a 2 electrons in its valence shell, followed by the element Y, it requires only 1 electron to get its octet. That is why its valency is 1. So after cross multiplication, we are going to get the formula of the compound is XY2. Okay, here we know that value of X, or the element X is a calcium, followed by the element which is having this configuration. That means how many electrons it is having? 2, 10 plus 7, 17. The element with atomic number 17 is a chlorine. So the element X is a calcium while the element Y is a Cl. So the formula of the compound is a CaCl2, but they have asked only the question in this form. So the electronic configuration of the two elements is X, X and Y is given below. The formula of the ionic compound that can be formed between these elements is a XY2, that is present in a option 2. So which is the correct option for this question? That is option 2, XY2. Okay, yes. The next question. So the question is like this: for the second period elements, the correct increasing order of first ionization enthalpy is. So the question number 3 is like this: for the second period elements, what are those elements present in the second period? Lithium, followed by beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon. These are the elements which are present in the second period. So the atomic number of lithium is 3. This is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So what they have asking here, for the second period elements, the correct increasing order of first ionization enthalpy is. So what is meant by this word ionization enthalpy? Ionization enthalpy means it is the amount of energy required. It is the amount of energy required to remove the electron from the outermost shell. It is the amount of energy required to remove the electron from the outermost shell. That is the ionization energy, but they have asked here a first ionization enthalpy. That means that is the amount of energy required to remove the first electron from the outermost shell. So when we look into the electronic configuration of this second period elements, that is lithium is having the configuration of 1s2 2s1, and this beryllium is having 1s2 2s2, and this boron 1s2 2s2 2p1 it is, and carbon 1s2 2s2 2p 2p2 it is, followed by nitrogen 1s2 2s2 2p3, followed by oxygen, it is having 2s2 2p4, I can write it directly, followed by fluorine 2s2 2p5, then last nitrogen it is having 2s2 2p6 configuration. So when we look into the configuration of the elements, there is a common trend in our periodic table that when we compare the ionization enthalpies along the period and down the group, we know that ionization enthalpy values increases when we move along the period, followed by decreases when we move down the group. But this trend is not common for all the elements. There are some dissimilarities with respect to the electronic configuration of the elements. Why? Because according to the general concept, as we move along the period, ionization enthalpy should increases, okay, but there is no common trend because of the half filled and completely filled configurations. Okay, there are some electronic configurations in our periodic table that the elements those who possesses such stable configurations, that means like a doublet configuration or octet configuration, there is very difficult to remove the electron from their shells. Okay, here lithium being a 1s 2s1 configuration, it can loses its electron very easily, such that the lithium ionization energy of lithium is less than that of beryllium, it is less than that of boron. This is the common trend, but here there is an exception that beryllium being a completely filled configuration, this is called a doublet configuration. This is having a doublet configuration. Because of having this doublet configuration, it is very difficult for us to remove the electron from this 2s orbital. But in case of boron, the electron is present in the 2p1 orbital, and this boron is eager to lose this electron from a 2p orbital to get this stability. That is why the removal of electron from a beryllium is more difficult than boron. That is why it took a more amount of ionization energy than boron. So this is the trend. Followed by beryllium, it is having a lesser ionization enthalpy than carbon. It is lesser ionization enthalpy than oxygen instead of nitrogen. Okay, ಯಾಕೆ instead of nitrogen ನಾವು oxygen ಅನ್ನ ಬರಿತೇವೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ here the electronic configuration of oxygen is it is having 2p4 configuration, but the electronic configuration of nitrogen is 2p3. That means this nitrogen is having exactly half filled configuration. It is having a half filled configuration. Half filled configuration ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, it becomes very difficult for us to remove the electron from the half filled and completely filled shells. That is why instead of oxygen we are instead of nitrogen we are considering here this oxygen, because the first ionization enthalpy or the amount of energy required for the removal of first electron from oxygen is less than that of this nitrogen. That is why the trend is follows like this: fluorine followed by neon. Neon, which comes last, means which possesses or which requires highest amount of ionization energy to give its single electron, because it is having a octet configuration. It is the most stable configuration ever, such that this neon which do not give up the electron very easily. So this is the trend of first ionization enthalpies of second period elements in their increasing order. So which is the correct option given here? Lithium, boron, beryllium, followed by carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, fluorine and neon. So option 4 is the correct one for the question number 3. Okay. So the next question. Yes. So the next question is regarding the acidic nature, basic nature and the amphoteric nature of different oxides. So the question is like this: match the oxide given in the column 1 with its property given in the column 2. In a column A, they have given the oxides of different elements like sodium oxide, aluminum oxide, nitrous oxide, followed by Cl2O7. In this, we need to compare them whether it belongs to an acidic nature or whether it can exhibit basic nature or whether it is neutral or amphoteric. Okay, in order to solve this question, we need to know about in a periodic table, the metallic properties or metallic character is directly proportional to the basic strength. Metallic properties is directly proportional to basic strength. At the same time, non-metallic character non-metallic character non-metallic character is directly proportional to acidic strength. And one more category is there, that is regarding the metalloids, the elements which behaves as metalloids, which neither behaves as a acids nor behaves as bases, and such compounds we can call them as amphoteric substances or amphoteric oxides. Okay, then they have given an examples of Na2O followed by Al2O3, followed by N2O, then Cl2O7. So these are the oxides of different compounds in which we need to differentiate which one is acidic oxide, which one is basic oxides. In order to find out that answer, first we must know which one is a metallic oxide and which one is a non-metallic oxide and which one is an amphoteric oxide. So here, by looking into these four oxides, we can easily identify this Na2O is a metallic oxide. Metallic oxide means it is basic in nature, followed by this Al2O3, which belongs to Al. It is either it is a metal or a non-metal. Al is a metalloid. That is why metalloids, they can exhibit a amphoteric nature. Followed by N2O, which is neutral in nature, at the last one Cl2O7. Here Cl is a non-metal, and the non-metallic oxides exhibits a acidic nature. So which is the correct match then? So what are the options they have given here? For Na2O, which is correct? Na2O is a basic one, means 2. For Al2O3, D, it is amphoteric, followed by N2O, this is neutral A, followed by fourth one is Cl2O7, which is acidic C. So which is the correct option here? For 1 it is B, and the second one is D, and the third one is A, and fourth one is C. So option 3 is correct here. So option 3 is correct for the question number 4. So the next question will be, So the next question is regarding the comparison of acidic nature of different oxides. So what are the different oxides they have given here? So they have given beryllium oxide followed by barium oxide, then magnesium oxide and calcium oxide. So these are the oxides of alkaline earth metals. So these are the alkaline earth metals: beryllium, barium, magnesium followed by calcium, and these are the oxides of alkaline earth metals. So according to it, which of the following oxides is most acidic is the question. Okay, as we already told that acidic nature and basic nature, we can easily identify or we can easily differentiate them by knowing that whether it is an acidic or whether it is an metallic or non-metallic. So down the group we already know that metallic properties increases. So metallic nature of the elements which increases as we move down the group, followed by the non-metallic properties. Non-metallic properties or non-metallic nature which increases along the period. Okay, if we arrange these elements down the group: beryllium followed by magnesium followed by calcium followed by barium. This is the arrangement of these elements down the group. That means down the group, what is the trend here? Metallic nature increases. With the increase in the metallic nature, what happens? Basic nature also increases. Basic nature of the oxides increases as we move down the group. Okay, then what happens when we compare the basic strengths of these elements? Here, this Ba, that means this BaO, barium oxide, which looks or which is having more basic nature. But we need which one is more acidic in nature. As we move down the group, the basic character increases. That means calcium is less basic than barium, followed by magnesium is less basic than calcium. At the same time, beryllium, which is having very least basic nature, that is why which is present in the head of the periodic table, that means which is present at the top of the periodic table, that is why it is acidic in nature. Among four oxides of alkaline earth metals, this beryllium oxide which is more acidic in nature. And when we move down the group from beryllium oxide to barium oxides, their basic nature increases. So which is the correct option then? Option 1 is the correct option. Okay. So the next question. So the next question is like this. How does electron gain enthalpies? How does electron gain enthalpies vary across a period and down a group? So the question number 6, that is regarding electron gain enthalpy. So what it says, electron gain enthalpy? Electron gain enthalpy means it is the amount of energy released when an electron can be added into a gaseous atom. Okay, ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಒಂದು gaseous atomಗೆ electrons add up ಆದಾಗ what are the enthalpy changes takes place. Okay, we can also define electron gain enthalpy as it is the enthalpy change when an electron can be added into isolated gaseous atom. Okay, so what are the options they have given here? So the less positive across a period and the less negative down a group, more positive across a period and less positive down a group, more negative across a period and less negative down a group, followed by more positive across a period and less negative down a group. So the electron gain enthalpy, electron gain enthalpy as we move along the period, the tendency of an element to accept a electron increases. Okay, now ನಮ್ಮ periodic table ಅಲ್ಲಿ from left to right move ಆದಾಗ ಎಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಗಳಿಗೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ. So when the electron added into those elements, there is a change with respect to the electron gain enthalpy takes place. That is why as we move from left to right of our periodic table or along the period as we move, electron gain enthalpies becomes more and more negative. As we move along the period, electron gain enthalpy, it will becomes a more negative. More negative means more tendency towards acceptance of electrons. And at the same time, as we move down the group, tendency of electron gain enthalpy becomes less negative. Why it is less negative? Because as we move down the group, there is an increase with the number of shells takes place. Number of shells ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Number of shells ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆದಾಗ effective nuclear charge of nucleus over the electron, it has been reduced. ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದಾಗ electron accepting tendency reduce ಆಗ್ತದೆ. That is why electron gain enthalpy becomes less negative down the group, followed by more negative along a period. Okay, and ಇದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ electron gain enthalpy, it is not always negative. It has some positive values also. Okay, when we add the electron, those who are having already completely filled electrons or exactly half filled electrons, in such cases these electron gain enthalpies, which shows the positive values, followed by the addition of a electron into the negative species. Already electron add agiro species ಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ electrons ಅನ್ನ add ಮಾಡುವಾಗ with the inter-electronic repulsive interactions, we are going to get a positive values. But here the question is very simple. How does the electron gain enthalpy varies across a period and down a group? So the answer is it is more negative along a period and less negative down a group. So which is the correct option here? More. So option 3, more negative across a period and less negative down a group. So option 3 is correct. So the next question number 7, so which is regarding the correct arrangement of ions with respect to their ionic radius. So what are the ions they have given here? Na plus Al plus 3, Na plus Al plus 3, it is question number 7, Al plus 3 followed by Be plus 2. So the next set is Na plus Cl minus followed by Ca plus 2 followed by Ca plus 2, K plus followed by S minus 2, and the last one is Cl minus followed by F minus and S minus 2. So the correct arrangement for the ions in the increasing order of their radii anta kelidare. Andre here they have given some of the ions, negative ions and positive ions. We can arrange the different elements with respect to their increasing order of their radii. Okay, so the next thing it is Na plus. It is having a atomic number 11 with the loss of 1 electron. It is having 10 electrons. This is also having 10 electrons, but this beryllium atomic number is 4, but it is having, with the loss of 2 electrons, it is having only 2 electrons. So we can compare the ionic radii of isoelectronic species, not the species like which are differed by their number of electrons. ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ only 10 electrons ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ 10 ಇದೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಇದೆ. So there is a greater difference with respect to their atomic and ionic sizes. But when we look into this example, here also same 10, it is 18, this is also 18. Here also these species are not isoelectronic species. We cannot compare the atomic radius because there are greater difference with respect to them. And the third one is, so here calcium atomic number is 20 with a loss of 2 electrons, it is left with 18 electrons, followed by this potassium Atomic number is 19. With the loss of 1 electron, it is left with 18 electrons. Followed by this S means sulfur. Atomic number is 16. With the gaining of 2 electrons, it is also having 18 electrons. And such a species we can call them as isoelectronic species. ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ ಇವನ್ನ isoelectronic species. And these species which are differed by the number of protons, here in calcium the number of protons still remains 20, but it is having 18 electrons. And here in potassium the number of electrons are number of protons they still remains 19, but the number of electrons again we have 18. Followed by in sulfur number of protons are 16, the number of electrons are 18. So how can we compare the ionic radii? As we already know that the cationic size means the size of cation is always smaller than that of size of anion, because in a cation here we are having 20 protons, that means 20 positive charges. If we can consider 18 electrons are there, means here the number of protons is dominated there. As the number of protons dominated, that means the nuclear charge, effective nuclear charge, which has a greater influence over this remaining electrons. That means the remaining 20 protons which holds the remaining 18 electrons more tightly. So with respect to the increase in the force of attraction, what happens? There is a shrinkage of radius takes place. That is why with respect to the Ca plus 2, K plus and S minus 2, the size of Ca plus 2 ion, Ca plus 2 ion is less than that of K plus followed by S minus 2. ಇಲ್ಲಿ electrons ಅನ್ನ add ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದಾಗ addition of electrons takes place here because it is having minus 2 charge. Repulsive interactions takes place ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Repulsive interactions ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, the radius may be increases. But here with the loss of electron, the nucleus which holds the remaining electrons more tightly such that there is a shrinkage of atomic or ionic radius takes place. That is why this is the trend for the ionic radii in their increasing order. Which is the correct option given here? That is option 3, that is calcium followed by potassium followed by sulfur ion, S minus 2. Okay, the next question. So the next question is like this. Question number 8. So this is regarding the hydrides of the different elements. The hydrides of the first elements in groups 15 and 17, namely NH3, H2O and HF. What are the hydrides they have given? NH3, H2O and HF they have given. Okay, respectively, which shows abnormally high values for melting and boiling points, that is due to. So what they are asking here, these are the compounds, these are the different hydrides which shows abnormally higher melting and boiling points. ಇವು ಬೇರೆ molecules ಗಳಿಗಿಂತ ಬೇರೆ hydrides ಗಳಿಗಿಂತ excess of these molecules which shows excess of difference with respect to their melting and boiling points. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. So why? Here we should observe some of the elements, that means nitrogen, oxygen and fluorine. So these are the elements which can only involve in a hydrogen bonding process. Okay, oxygen, hydrogen followed by fluorine, these are the elements which involved in a hydrogen bonding. Okay, in hydrogen bonding there are two types: intermolecular hydrogen bonding followed by intramolecular hydrogen bonding. In this particular case, NH3 ammonia, water and hydrogen fluoride, all these molecules which are involved in a intermolecular hydrogen bonding. Intermolecular hydrogen bonding. So with respect to the intermolecular hydrogen bonding, what happens? when the molecules involved in the hydrogen bonding, intermolecular hydrogen bonding, when the molecules are involved in the intermolecular hydrogen bonding, which makes the molecules involved in the association, means due to the intermolecular hydrogen bonding, association of molecules takes place. With respect to the association of molecules, what happens? What happens when the molecules will get associated? The bonds between the molecules will get even more stronger, means we have to apply more and more amount of energy to break those bonds, that is in the form of either boiling points or melting points. So the reason for these hydrides to exhibit higher values of melting and boiling points is the intermolecular hydrogen bond. With respect to the intermolecular hydrogen bonding, what happens? With the involvement of intermolecular hydrogen bonding, which causes the association of molecules. What it causes? Association of molecules. With the association of molecules, what happens? When the molecules will get associated, the bonds between the molecules get stronger now. Bonds stronger ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ more amount of energy is required in the form of either melting points or boiling points. So the intermolecular hydrogen bonding is the main reason that these hydrides, which shows dissimilarities, are abnormal higher melting and boiling point. So what are the options they have given? The ability to form extensive intermolecular hydrogen bonding. So the first is given, that is first option is the correct one. So the next question. So the next question is regarding the radius, again radius of ions. It is regarding the radius of ions. So what are the different ions given here? S minus 2 followed by Cl minus followed by Ca plus 2. As I already told in the previous question that these ions, if the ions are isoelectronic in nature, we can easily compare them with respect to their atomic and ionic radius. Okay, here S minus 2 sulfur atomic number is 16. With the addition of 2 electrons, it is having 18 electrons, followed by Cl minus ion. Cl atomic number is 17. With the addition of electron, it is also belongs to 18 electrons. Okay, Ca plus 2 atomic number of calcium is 20. With the loss of 2 electrons, it also reaches 18 electrons. Means these species are isoelectronic species again. These are what? Isoelectronic species. These are isoelectronic species. So as I already told, isoelectronic species, when we compare the radius of cation is always less than that of its parent atom, followed by always less than the anion. As all these ions are having 18 electrons, this being an isoelectronic species, we can compare their radius only with respect to their charges, with respect to their whether it is cation or anion. Here they have given two anions followed by one cation. Size of Ca plus 2, that means cation is always less than that of Cl minus, always less than that of S minus 2. This is the trend. But what they have given here, first option is radius of S minus 2 is less than that of Cl. S minus 2 is less than that of Cl minus anta ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, that is wrong. First option is wrong. Then the second one, Ca plus 2, radius of Ca plus 2 less than that of Cl minus, less than that of S minus 2. So this is the correct option. Which is the correct option here? Option B is, or option 2 is the correct option for the question number 9. Okay, yes. So the next question, So the next question is regarding, it's a direct question. The first ionization potential of Na is 5.1 electron volts. The first ionization potential of sodium is 5.1 electron volts, followed by the value of electron gain enthalpy of sodium plus ion will be. Okay, so this is a direct question, question number 10. As we already know that electron ionization ionization enthalpy values that is equal to negative of electron gain enthalpy values. So this is the simple value of ionization enthalpies, that is negative of electron gain enthalpies. That is means y value of ionization potential that is given as plus 5.1 electron volts. That means this is ionization potential. At the same time, the value of electron gain enthalpy, it will become 5.1 electron volt with a negative charge minus 5.1 electron volts, that is electron gain enthalpy. So here ionization enthalpy means that is the negative of electron gain enthalpy. The value of ionization enthalpy or ionization potential is given as plus 5.1 electron volt. As the formula says, it is negative of the ionization potential means the value of electron gain enthalpy, it will become minus 5.1 electron volt. So the option is option 2 is correct here, minus 5.1 electron volts. Okay, as the next question. So which of the following statement is incorrect? Question number 11 it is. Which of the following statements is incorrect? So what are the statements they have given here? What are the statements they have given? First one is the oxidation state of K in KO2 is plus 1. First one is oxidation state of K in KO2 is a plus 1. That is the correct statement because it is a superoxide. Here O2 having a charge of minus 1, x minus 1 is equal to 0 and x is equal to plus 1. That means the oxidation state of potassium in KO2, potassium superoxide, is a plus 1. That is the correct statement. Then the second one, magnesium sulfate is readily soluble in water. Magnesium sulfate being a salt, it is readily soluble in water when it is mixed with water. Okay, followed by lithium has, Li plus has minimum degree of hydration. What they have given here, Li plus has minimum degree of hydration, but being a smaller atomic radius, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium and cesium. This is the hydration tendency or degree of hydration for alkali metals. For alkali metals. In alkali metals, with respect to the increase in the size, with respect to the increase in the size of the ion, hydration enthalpy is going to be decreased. Okay, ಯಾವಾಗ atomic size ionic size ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ ಆವಾಗ hydration tendency ಅಥವಾ degree of hydration ಅಂತ ನಾವೇನ್ ಕರಿತೇವೆ, degree of hydration, it decreases. Degree of hydration decreases. Okay, lithium is the element among alkali metals which possesses highest degree of hydration. Lithium ge highest degree of hydration irtada, followed by cesium which possesses lowest degree of hydration. In this you must remember one thing, that in alkali metals or also in alkaline earth metals also, here with respect to the increase in the size of the ions, degree of hydration is decreases. So option 3, what they have given here, Li plus lithium plus ion has minimum degree of hydration anta kottidare, but that is the wrong statement. But the actual thing, it is lithium plus ion, it is having highest degree of hydration among the alkali metals. So which is the correct option here? Option 3, lithium plus has minimum degree of hydration. Okay, so the next question, is regarding the correct order of solubility of the following compounds in water is. So the correct order of solubility of compounds or following compounds in water is. The question number 12, it is. Question number 12. Yes. First, we can consider calcium sulfate with a magnesium sulfate. So according to the concepts, as we move down the group, okay, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, barium, like this. Okay, with respect to the, when we move down the group, what happens? The solubility of the alkaline earth metals, it is going to be decreases. Okay, solubility of alkaline earth metals ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ when we move down the group ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. Okay, when we compare the solubilities of calcium sulfate and magnesium sulfate, in the previous question ಒಂದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, magnesium sulfate is dissociated in water ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ it is a salt. Okay, and one more reason is which comes above the calcium in the periodic table. As we move down the group, what happens? The solubility of alkaline earth metals decrease ಆಗ್ತದೆ, especially the sulfates. Okay, with the comparison of magnesium sulfate with the calcium sulfate, what happens here? The solubility of calcium sulfate is less than that of magnesium sulfate. Okay, here you must remember only one thing, that the common trend, that as we move down the group, the solubility of alkaline earth metal compounds decreases. With respect to that, calcium, which comes before the magnesium, which is having lesser solubility compared to that of magnesium. So which is the correct option here? So the correct option is option 2, that is calcium sulfate, that is less than that of magnesium sulfate. Okay, so the next question. So the next question is like this. Question number 13. Yes, question number 13 is like this. On heating, which of the following which releases carbon dioxide more easily? So on heating, which of the following releases carbon dioxide most easily? Okay, so what are the options they have given? Na2CO3 followed by MgCO3 followed by K2CO3 potassium carbonate with respect to calcium carbonate. So with respect to these, by looking into these carbonates, one thing we must know, that the carbonates of alkali metals, means alkali metal carbonates are more stable than alkaline earth metal carbonates. Alkaline earth metal carbonates alkali metal carbonates are more stable than alkaline earth metal carbonates. First, we have to differentiate which one is alkali metal carbonate and which one is alkaline earth metal carbonate. Here Na2CO3 is an alkali metal carbonates, followed by this potassium. These two are alkali metal carbonates which are more stable than alkaline earth metals, followed by this magnesium and calcium are alkaline earth metals which are less stable than alkali metal carbonates. So why we need this concept? The stability of alkali and alkaline earth metals. By looking into the stabilities of the compounds, alkali and alkaline earth metals, what happens here? If the compound or if the carbonate is more stable, it has lesser tendency towards decomposition, means it do not undergoes decomposition easily. If the molecule is less stable, then only it can undergoes decomposition easily and it can produces carbon dioxide more easily. So in that context, alkaline earth metal carbonates are more stable, means Na2CO3 and K2CO3 which do not or which takes much amount of energy to get dissociated or decomposed. And when we compare magnesium carbonate with calcium carbonate, what happens here? Magnesium carbonate and calcium carbonate, the stability of alkaline earth metals which decreases, stability of alkaline earth metals which decreases, stabilities of alkaline earth metals, sorry, which increases down the group. Stabilities of alkaline carbonates like magnesium carbonate and calcium carbonate, when we compare the stabilities of magnesium carbonate with calcium carbonate is more stable in nature. Haganta calcium carbonate decompose agode illa anta alla. Calcium carbonate is also undergoes decomposition, but the question is most easily which one of the carbonates which releases the carbon dioxide more easily anta kelidare. That is why when we compare the stability of magnesium carbonate with calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate is less stable in nature. That is why it can undergo decomposition in presence of heat very easily, that it can produces magnesium oxide and carbon dioxide very easily. Here calcium carbonate is also undergoes decomposition to give calcium oxide and carbon dioxide, but magnesium which can produces CO2 more readily than calcium carbonate. So which is the correct option then? Option 2, that is magnesium carbonate. Okay. Then next question. Question number 14. So the question is like this. Which of the following is wrong? So here they have given some of the formulas of the compounds, standard formulas. So what are the formulas they have given here? The first one is question number 14, that is CaSO4 2H2O, calcium sulfate dihydrate. They have given that, they have given it as a plaster of Paris, plaster of Paris. And the second one it is FeSO4 NH4 twice SO4 6H2O, means it is collectively called ferrous ammonium sulfate. Okay, in general name it is called Morse salt. Okay, then the third one is FeSO4 7H2O. Okay, iron 2 sulfate heptahydrate, it is called green vitriol, followed by Na2CO3 10H2O, that is sodium carbonate decahydrate, which is called washing soda. Okay, except the first one plaster of Paris, all the remaining 2, 3 and 4 statements are correct and they are correctly matched with respect to their what they have given. But calcium CaSO4 2H2O, that is not the exact formula of a plaster of Paris. Formula of a plaster of Paris is a CaSO4 calcium sulfate hemihydrate, half H2O it is. Okay, calcium sulfate hemihydrate. So what is the formula of a plaster of Paris here? CaSO4 half H2O. That means ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇದು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಸಿಯಂ ಸಲ್ಫೇಟ್ ಹೆಮಿಹೈಡ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. That is the formula of plaster of Paris, not CaSO4 2H2O. Okay, so the question is which of the following is wrong? So the question CaSO4 2H2O, the plaster of Paris, that is wrong statement, means option 1 is correct. So the next question, question number 15. So the beryllium and aluminium exhibits many properties which are similar, but the two elements differ in. So what they have given, question number 15, beryllium and aluminium which exhibits many properties which are similar. Why beryllium and aluminium which shows a similar properties? That means both are exhibiting diagonal relationship. Both are diagonal elements which shows a property called diagonal relationship. Diagonal relationship. That means by using this diagonal relationship they can exhibit different properties like exhibiting amphoteric nature in their oxides. That means oxides of beryllium followed by oxides of aluminium, both are amphoteric in nature. That is the common property. Followed by both are capable of producing the dimers ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀನಿ. BeH2 AlH2 ಡೈಮರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ಸ್ ಪಾಲಿಮರಿಕ್ ಕಾಂಪೌಂಡ್ಸ್ ನ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಬೆರಿಲಿಯಂ ಅಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಯೂಮಿನಿಯಂ. ಫಾಲೋಡ್ ಬೈ what are the options given? Exhibiting the amphoteric nature in their oxides, that is the correct one. Followed by forming covalent halides, that is correct. Followed by forming polymeric hydrides, ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಾನು ಡೈಮರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಫಾರ್ಮೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ, that is also correct. But the fourth one, that is maximum covalency in compounds. So what they have given here, exhibiting amphoteric nature in their oxides, that is correct. Forming covalent halides, that is also correct. Then forming polymeric hydrides, that is also correct. Then the last one is maximum covalency in compounds. Okay, that is the wrong statement because beryllium, the maximum covalency of beryllium is 4 only. The maximum covalency of beryllium is how much? It is 4 only, but the maximum covalency of aluminium is 6. Both are differed by their covalency because beryllium can have only 4 electrons. It can lose maximum, if we lose all the electrons, if we can take up all the electrons, its covalency is 4 only. But aluminium can exhibit valency up to 6. That is why both the elements, even though both are exhibiting similar different properties, lot of similar properties in exhibit madidru kuda, they differed by their covalencies, one exhibiting 4 valency and another one exhibiting the valency 6. Okay, yes. The next question, so the correct option for this question number 15 is option 4, that is maximum covalency in compounds. Okay, the next question, so the question is like this: AlF3 is soluble in HF only in presence of Kf. It is due to the formation of, so aluminium trifluoride. Question number 16. Question number 16. Question number 16. Aluminium trifluoride, which takes the help of potassium fluoride to get dissociate in presence of HF. HF ಅಲ್ಲಿ AlF3 dissociate ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಪೊಟ್ಯಾಷಿಯಂ ಫ್ಲೋರೈಡ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಅನ್ನ ತಗೊಳ್ತದೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ what they have given, it is hydrogen fluoride. ನಾನು ಅವಾಗ್ಲೇನೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ hydrogen fluoride which involved in a intermolecular hydrogen bond. ಏನಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ? ಇಂಟರ್ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಬಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ HF ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ this AlF3 which have a less access of this fluorine atoms. Okay, ಈ fluorine atoms intermolecular hydrogen bonding ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ವಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ for the solubility of this AlF3 it has less availability of this fluorides. That is why in order to provide that we have to make use of this potassium iodide. which results in the formation of a complex called hexafluoroaluminate 3 complex. ಒಂದು ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜನರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತದೆ. Okay, what is the question they have given? AlF3 is also is soluble in HF only in presence of KF. ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾವು ಪೊಟ್ಯಾಷಿಯಂ ಅಯೋಡೈಡ್ ನ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ತಗೊಳ್ತೇವೆ ಆವಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ AlF3 ಪೊಟ್ಯಾಷಿಯಂ ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಫ್ಲೋರೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸೋಸಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ hydrogen fluoride in hydrogen fluoride the fluorine are less available to involved in a solubility with respect to AlF3 because of extensive intermolecular hydrogen bonding, and that is compensated by this potassium iodide and with AlF3 which combines with this potassium iodide, which results in the formation of one coordinate compound that is complex, that is potassium hexafluoroaluminate 3 complex. Okay, so which is the correct option then? Option 4, that is K3Al-F6, that is the compound formed. So due to the formation of AlF3 is soluble in HF only in presence of KF. It is due to the formation of yake antandre, that is due to the formation of this complex K3Al-F6. Okay, so the next question. So the question is like this. Question number 17. So the hydride of boron occurs as B2H6. Hydride of boron occurs as B2H6, but B2Cl6 does not exist. This is because of, okay, ಏನು ಕೇಳಿದರೆ hydride of boron this is exist, but this is does not exist ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿ. Why this is not exist? Here boron being very small in atomic size, which can have capability of accommodating the atoms which are having smaller in size. Hydrogen being smaller in size, which will get accommodated over boron easily, but when we compare the size of boron, size of Cl is more and more larger. That is why it is very difficult for this boron to get accommodated the 6 chlorine atoms. That is why it is B2H6, means the hydride of boron in the form of B2H6 is exist, but in this form B2Cl6 form it is not exist because of the only reason that the size of boron atom is very small and which could not accommodate larger size Cl atoms, that is 6 Cl atoms. So options are like this. Boron and hydrogen have almost equal values of electronegativity. That is wrong. P pi D pi back bonding is possible in B2H6, not in B2Cl6. That is also wrong. Small hydrogen atoms can easily fit in between boron atoms, but large chlorine atoms do not. So this is the correct option. Okay, option 3 is the correct option for question number 17. Okay, so the next question. Question number 18. So what is the question? CH3 twice SiCl2 means dimethyl dichlorosilane undergoes hydrolysis, but CH3 twice CL2 does not. This is because means CH3 twice SiCl2 it undergoes hydrolysis easily, but CH3 twice CL2 does not. ಇದು hydrolysis ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೆ CH3 twice SiCl2 hydrolysis ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಯಾಕೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ because of the presence of d orbitals in the silicon, and the same d orbitals are absent in case of carbon. Okay, as we already know the electronic configuration, atomic number of silicon and carbon, by using that, we'll easily know that the d orbitals are present inside the silicon that is responsible for the solubility or the hydrolysis of this particular molecule. But the same thing is absent for carbon. Here the presence of d orbitals is not there because absence of d orbitals irutte illi. ಹಾಗಾಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ this molecule, that means dimethyl dichlorosilane, which undergoes hydrolysis very easily because of the presence of d orbitals in case of silicon. Okay, so which is the correct option given? So option 4, that is d orbitals are present in the valence shell of silicon but not in the carbon. That is the correct option. That is for question number 18, option 4 is the correct one. Okay, so the question number 19. Question number 19 is, it's a direct question, that is hybridized states of carbon in a graphite and a diamond are respectively. So in a diamond and a graphite, what are the hybridization of carbon? In a diamond it is very hard and brittle, that is because of its a structure, that is due to the sp3 hybridized. Diamond alli ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಟೆಟ್ರಾಹೆಡ್ರನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ಮಾಲಿಕ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಆಗಿ ಅರೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ದಟ್ ಡೈಮಂಡ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಅ ಹಾರ್ಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಬ್ರಿಟಲ್ ನೇಚರ್. ಓಕೆ, ಫಾಲೋಡ್ ಬೈ ದಿಸ್ ಗ್ರಾಫೈಟ್. It is not hard as much of diamond because it is having a sp2 hybridization, layered structure irutte yaudralli graphite alli. So the hybridization of a diamond is sp3 followed by the hybridization of graphite is sp2. So the correct option is option 3, that is sp2 followed by sp3. So the last question of the discussion, that is question number 20. So that is regarding the stability of +1 oxidation state among aluminium, gallium, indium and thallium increases in the sequence. So the question number 20, this is regarding the stabilities of different p block elements. What they have given here: aluminium, gallium, indium followed by thallium. Okay, here we need to know one thing, that the stability of +3 oxidation state decreases down the group among p block elements. The stabilities of +3 oxidation states decreases down the group. At the same time, stabilities of +1 oxidation state increases down the group. +1 oxidation state down the group ಬಂದಂಗೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, increase ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. For what reason these two can take place? Why the +3 oxidation state decreases followed by +1 oxidation state increases? The main reason is that inert pair effect. That is due to inert pair effect. Due to the presence of inert pair effect in case of +1 oxidation state, which makes this +1 oxidation state more stable with respect to the +3 oxidation state, which decreases with respect to +1 oxidation state, which increases down the group. So what they are asking here, the stability of +1 oxidation state among aluminium, gallium, indium and thallium increases in the sequence. ಅಂದ್ರೆ down the group ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, +1 oxidation state increase ಆಗಬೇಕು. That is why this aluminium has less stable than gallium followed by indium followed by thallium. This is the order of stability of a +1 oxidation state among these sets. So which one is correct then? Option 2 is correct. Aluminium less than gallium less than indium followed by thallium. So this completes your discussion regarding the split 4. option है